with. We are bound to live one. We will be motivated by flesh or spirit. It's the law or life of life. We will choose surrender to one, or the other will force surrender upon us. Some of us enter without knowing the way of striving, of getting ahead, of paving hard our way with all the intelligent, logical, and reasonable stones. And we may be incredibly good at it. We may enjoy it even. We find in it a place in the world, a place of identity, of feeling purposeful, used, and productive. We set goals. Goals are good. We utilize our gift and our wit. We use our resourcefulness. We make it happen. These are all good things. They are all things we were made to feel and experience. The Lord loves pleasure. He created us for it. He wants us to connect with the joy he felt at creation, that he feels every day as he continually creates. But the one thing he has never and doesn't even know how to do is strive. Because striving requires a lack of faith, a lack of full surrender. And he doesn't know that place. So what place does he know? What is that place of possibility that he lives from? That place of knowing not burden, but only potential, only hope, and the excitement of what's going to happen next. He knows that his Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He knows that his Father pulls the Leviathan in with a fish hook. He knows that his Father can make the sun stand still if he so pleases.
Amen.
He knows that his Father tells the waves where to stop every day so they don't go on engulfing my little house a few hundred yards up the shore. He knows the precise levels of oxygen and CO2 needed to keep us all from suffocating every waking moment of our lives. He sends the electrical impulses needed throughout our body to somehow keep our heart to perfect beat. He makes it so we can see out of these spheres called eyes the wonders of the gallery of work surrounding us every waking second. Shall I go on? I could go on about those things like forever. He grows other humans inside our bodies and tells them exactly when it's time to see the world. You moms know about that one. He created systems in our beings to fight off illness, to repair itself, to process food and nutrients, sending all of those unseen things right where our bodies need them. He created the process of taste so we could savor every little thing we put in our mouths. He didn't have to do this because he loves it when we have pleasure. He designed these intricate, delicate things called ears so that through them we could experience sounds and beauty that paint pictures on the canvases of our imagination. And don't even get me started on the diamonds and rubies he hides in the earth for us to find and set to jewelry. The precise technique he uses that man can't even touch to create those things, that over time creates these magnificent lozenges of miraculous color and luster and light, so that he can put them in our crowns and adorn our hands and breastplates and swords with. These gems hidden deep in those dark places, the quiet, desolate caverns full of heat and cold and extremity and loneliness. Can anyone else relate to this one? I could go on and on about the rainbows, the ecosystems working in perfect order, the birds dressed like royalty, the deep sea and its mysteries, the physics that the world's most brilliant scientists can hardly begin to figure out, the cosmos and their light and magic, the pelicans and the dolphins that surf the waves just for fun, the life that insists on rooting and growing new forests in the place of a volcano's devastation, the love between a man and a woman, the connection between a mother and her children, the hard shell of a ladybug, the world inside of my antique diamond ring. Whenever we see ourselves as creatives, all we need to do is look back at him, and immediately we are humbled. We are thrown to our knees and full of education on how to do this thing. He is the perfect example. He shows us how to build the kingdom through creativity, without striving, without stress, and total rest, and more fruitful than we could ever imagine. A few years ago, I had an idea. I knew I had the gifting to pull this off, and it was a dream the Lord had given me. but it was as if a little lion cub, it was as if I was a little lion cub thinking I was full grown. Where'd I go? So small. I started dreaming and scheming. I was going to take my years of passion for jewelry and create a line for little girls, and Nordstrom was going to buy it. I told that to my husband. Oh gosh, where am I again? Hold on one second. There it was. Okay. It's why I can't look up at you guys right now. I knew this beyond a shadow of a doubt. There was a niche in the market, and I was going to fill it. I love creating. I also love business. My calling was to these mountains. Thank you for giving us the language for this, Mr. Wallnow. So I pursued all the right avenues. I was going to New York. I found the perfect manufacturing with the perfect story. I created the most enticing booth with photographs of my then 4-year-old daughter, decked out in brightly colored wooden and glass bead necklaces. I had a vision. I knew it would sell, and it sold. The third day I was there, Nordstrom came to me and wanted to purchase my line for all of their full-line stores. I had never filled out an order form. Mind you, most sales made at these shows are to little mom and pop shops all over the country. To land Nordstrom was, well, to my neighbors in the baby and child wing of the ENK show. They were wide-eyed and talking. I flipped out, but I had never felt more stressed out and strung out in my life. My nerves were shot the whole week. Every step I took down the New York City streets, I was just dying to get back home to my kids. I felt a dread each night, and my anxiety was absolutely through the roof. But my dream had come true. Why wasn't I at peace? I was miserable. So I went home with this new news of this huge order coming my way. I had no clue what to do, but it was my dream. I was going to go big, fast. I was going to dominate this mountain and industry. So I spent the next month preparing spreadsheets, filling out legal forms, breaking down price points, all the while somehow knowing deep down that I was moments away from crashing and burning. But I was smart. My dad was a businessman. Oh, where I was. Yes, he was. This had to be God. But I had no peace. I was tormented by thoughts of failure to deliver. I was picturing the dollar signs and notoriety, and seconds later, feeling sick to my stomach. Is this what walking in our calling was supposed to feel like? I'd ask myself. It seemed so huge and amazing, but why did I have so much anxiety? I was waiting for this order to come to my email every day. The days were going by, and I was ready, but it never came, and it never came. Finally, one day, about 3 weeks later, the buyer wrote me informing me that they had been in the middle of budget cuts, and my order got cut. Whoa, crash. I write like I talk, y'all. Ready to vomit, sinking feeling, someone just punched me in the gut. No way. It felt like God had broken up with me. Like, what? I actually wrote that. They might edit that out. I'm not sure Melissa will like that. But this was God. This had to be totally him. Disillusionment, here we go. I was so confused. I felt so let go. I spent a season after a couple of months of grieving my dream crashing, working it hard. I followed up with the buyer and other buyers. I went to Neiman Marcus, Saks. I pursued all the boutiques. I sold and sold and sold myself. I definitely knew how to do it, and it even worked too. I had a great little business on my hands, but I was sort of miserable still. I was trying so hard. I was building something. Man, was I determined, but it wasn't sustainable. I wasn't happy. It took so much energy and so much work. It was not a place of the possibility of creating, but the burden of producing. It wasn't God the Creator's model. It was my model. Needless to say, when something isn't sustainable, Melissa will preach it, it won't last. His way is the only sustainable one. So fast forward to 5 years later, I had let that dream die. I was going to just focus on my kids and get back to that. Meanwhile, the Father also had a good year of deep inner healing, grieving, and restoration for my soul. And then came a shift. I began to see the Father for the first time in my life. Grieving my parents' divorce at the age of 12, the loss of everything that I knew seeing all of the mechanisms of survival that had grown up in my life, which gave me an incredible capacity to do big things, to divide and conquer. But those mechanisms were killing me slowly. Pain had produced an incredible capacity to control and manipulate my world, to make it a safe place. And he was breaking this off of me. The dream of the mountain of business and creativity was a real dream, but he had to break off my way of doing things before he could give me that mountain. There was one man in my church, a father, who's in the front row here. The Lord had given me to continue to pray for Aidah Jewelry. Honestly, I would just be like, okay, Papa, thanks for praying. But having no desire to ever really go there again. It had died, and I was okay with that, but the Lord wasn't. He started giving me the desire to compile my body of work and create a website. I told him this time, though, that anything that was to grow, and I mean anything, clients, sales, revenue, designs, business connections, resources, manufacturing, was all going to have to be all him. I wasn't going to go that other way again. He told me so clearly not to worry, and I will provide every step of the way, little by little, I will provide. I had applied for business loans before, gotten credit cards, had a business plan, did all those things right. And I wasn't going to do that this time. He was my business plan. He was my bank.
So good.
He was my credit line.
Wow.
He was my CFO and my
So
marketing
good.
director.
Come on.
And boy, has he been.
Hallelujah.
7 months ago, I relaunched Aidah Jewelry. Trust was my guide this time. Holy Spirit was my business partner. I never got a business loan. I've never had a credit card. I've posted on Instagram about once or twice a day my passion or inspiration that day out of pure joy, and that's been about the extent of my marketing strategy. And in the last 7 months, I've booked about $60,000 worth of business. Not a penny of which has come from a place of selling myself or striving.
That's right.
Oh, and I have diamonds passing through my hands now as opposed to wooden beads and string.
Hallelujah. That's what it's about.
And I haven't once been stressed, and I really mean that. Like, I'm not bragging here. I'm bragging God, all right?
That's right. Preach, girl.
Or felt the pressure to produce. I live with this constant expectation of when is he going to bring me next, which he always does. And it keeps growing with this deep peace that it is him that causes anything to grow.
So good.
Let me say that again. It is him that causes anything that's ever going to last
Come on.
to grow. Wow, how could I ever think that I could grow things any better than him? Why would I ever want to live outside of this safe, exciting, peaceful, fruitful, joy-filled place of possibility? He wants to upgrade us, y'all. Yes, I wrote that. Serious upgrades.
Come on, y'all.
Your eyes haven't seen. Your ears haven't heard.
Preach.
Your minds haven't conceived
Come on.
That's right.
all that he has in store
That's
for you.
right. Amen.
Here and in eternity.
Hallelujah.
My challenge, let go of the world's way of building business.
Thank you, Jesus.
Of building art, of building music, of building ministry, of building church, of building, period. Yes, he gave us hands to build and incredible ingenuity, but these buildings we build, no matter what industry, they all come from a place of creativity, whether you think you're creative or not. We are all creatives, but that creativity outside of submission to him just doesn't work the way it should. Let him be your CEO, your CFO, your marketing strategist, your sound engineer, your creative consultant, your partner.
Hallelujah.
It is so much fun. He wants to make our wildest dreams come true. He put them there in the first place.
Come on.
Those